This video is best viewed in full screen mode, and on YouTube that's this icon right here. And if you have a high bandwidth connection, you also want to watch it in HD, which is this icon right here. This video is designed to go over everything in the Judgment tab here. Quick note, if you're looking just for specific information about how the court information works, you can click on the link on your screen and it'll take you directly to that video. Also, that link will show up at the end of this video. So over here is where you have the style of judgment. This here is where you put in the court information. This here is where you have your general information about the case number, the judge, what type of case it is. And if you click on this icon here, this brings up a list, and you can go in here and you can add in a new entry, save it, close it, and then that new entry shows up here. So this here allows you to maintain this list here and customize it to whatever works best for you. And the retire column is basically means that if you've have something in the list that you no longer want to use anymore, you really don't want to delete it, because if you've had previous records that are using it, you still want it to show up in a list on your records that you've already created and already used this on. But by retiring it, basically means it won't show up in the list anymore on new records, and it won't show up anymore on old records unless it was already selected. So if I retire child support, hit save and close, you notice child support does not show up in this list anymore. Over here is where all your judgment information goes as far as dollar amounts. This is the amount of the award. This is where you put in any pre-judgment interest, and if this is whether or not there's interest charged on your pre-judgment interest. Here's your court costs and whether or not there's interest charged on the court costs. Attorney's fees, and same here, whether or not you charge interest on the attorney's fees. Before I forget, over here is when your judgment expires, and that is calculated based upon the judgment date, or if it's been renewed, it's based upon the renewal date. So you total all this up here, it gives you your net award. This here is your pre-assignment payments, and pre-assignment payments, as the name implies, is payments that were made to this judgment before it was assigned to you. So if the original judgment creditor says, hey, I did get a few payments and the guy flaked out on me after that, you can enter them over here on the payments tab down here at the bottom, and this amount here is what gets plugged into there. And then you have your post-assignment payments, which is basically payments that are made to you since this judgment was assigned to you. And that basically here comes off the payments tab in this column here, payments that were made, and that'll give you a total here, and that's what's plugged into here. This here is your post-judgment costs, and these are costs that have already by the court been added to the judgment. I want to emphasize that they've already been rolled into the judgment by the court. That happens in some jurisdictions when you file paperwork and there's certain court fees, the court will automatically add that to the judgment. And this figure is pulled from the expenses tab, from this value right here. And the way it works is, if you have a expense and that expense was added to the judgment by the court, then what you do is you use these, you fill out these two columns here. You select which judgment the expense was added to, and then over here you select what kind of expense it was, and the system uses this information and the rules in the state to decide whether or not interest should be charged on it. But if you look here, we have 2 items for a total of $50, and that's how this information here got plugged in. Then you have the total interest, and that's the total interest as of today that has been added to the judgment to give you the total due. And again, this is as of today. And this is the interest rate, 10% simple. And that is the default rule for the state, which happens to be Arizona. The interest rate information and whether or not these check marks are checked when you create a first record. When you first create a new record and you select a court, the system does is it goes out there and it looks at the information from the state interest rates. So we go here to Arizona and we see it's a 10% interest rate, and we also see that original judgments expire in 5 years and renewed judgments expire in 5 years. And we also have these check marks here. So what happens when you create a new record and you select the state for the judgment, then the system goes out there and defaults these check marks, even though they can be overridden. It defaults these check marks to match this, and then in order to calculate when the judgment expires, it goes off this information here, and then what interest rate is charged is pulled from this grid based upon the date of the judgment, and it applies in there. There's a separate video on the state interest rates, and if you want more information on that, there'll be a link at the end of this video, or you could go ahead and click on this link right here and go look at it now. Okay, and another note about judgments is on this screen here. If you have an amount here, like if you type in $1,200, you have to click away, and all I want you to do is just click in a different field. If you notice, this value will change, and there it is. So whenever you enter in something, as soon as you click on another field, this calculation will get redone. Click on the link to move to the next part of the video series.